done. Okay, awesome. I think I've worked this out. Let's see. Anyway, whatever. So I have decided to just do each of the individual topics and then upload them so that you can find them more easily, find the information more easily, and you can hopefully it'll upload quicker as well. So let's see how we go. So this one is going to be on working as a team, handling, moving a dog around a search area and the things that you need to think of when it comes to excellent and beyond, basically, because I think that was the question. The question was excellent and beyond. We'll do blank searches separately. So Carol, I will do that one next for you. But this one just was really talking about blank searches, yes, and how to teach your dog to search in a good way to clear an area. Because we know in excellent, we're in a situation where excellent, at least for interior, has 3 odors, but we will have at least 2 separate search areas. And it won't be known whether you've got 2 in one in the other. Your first one might be blank and you might have 3 in the next one. So you know there's 3 all up, but you just don't know how they're dispersed. That's as far as I understand it anyway. We need to begin to think about that, because then when we get to masters, we have unknown hides and definitely blank searches, which is pretty cool. So you really are going to be in a situation, I have to think, that once you get up to this level, you and your dog are working as a team. Now, the way that we've been trained, a lot of us, and definitely myself, when we're just taught to follow our dog around, let them do the work, totally, and then just be there as the food dispenser. That's very, very basic. And obviously there's not much teamwork in it. You're in a situation where you're just following the dog around and doling out food. But you will find that as you go on and go up in the levels, you're not going to be able to pass in that at the higher levels if that's basically all that you're doing. So it really is about teamwork, and I liken it very much to agility. Might feel like it's not anything like agility, but it really is very, very similar. The only difference is really that the obstacles, the main thing that the dog has to go and seek out is imperceptible to us. We can't see where the odour's moving. We obviously can't see the hides or sense the hides in any way. So all we've got to rely on is that dog's body language. So I think it's a really good thing to think about when we're thinking about this in terms of teamwork. And if I ask the question, what's the dog's job? Most people can pretty easily identify that it's the dog's job is about finding the hide and what do you call it? Reporting or alerting, letting the handler know, however they've been trained, that the hide is what they've found. But when I ask people what the handler's job is, oftentimes that can be met with a little bit more of a like, oh, I don't know, just doling out food. And it's like, well, that's one of our things that we've got to do. But when we're talking about real teamwork, a big part of the handler's job is actually to move the dog around the search area. You know the parameters of the search area, the dog doesn't. Now, you know that with scent work, ANKC scent work and ACSW, you are allowed to let your dog go out of the perimeters. You are allowed to go outside of the perimeters of the search area, because we know that, especially in an exterior search, there's going to be times where the dog has to actually leave the search area because the odorants are flowing outside, and they have to go out of the area to catch the odor to follow it back to source. Now, all of the hides are always in the search area, but the odour is ambivalent. The odour doesn't care about the perimeters of the search area. So you've got to be able to really understand what the environment and the environmental factors is potentially doing with the odour. Obviously the breeze and the wind is the first one we think of, but you know, we've got things like heat and humidity, all sorts of stuff. But your job is to move the dog through that search area. And when you see change of behaviour, which indicates to you that the dog has come across an odorant that is of interest to it, which may or may not be a target odour, your job is to stand back and let them work it out. And then obviously once the dog says, yo, yes, I found the target rodeo, don't know where that came from, the target odour, you call alert, and if correct, you get in there and pay. So your job is really important because the dog has no idea of the parameters of the search area. It just knows it's out there using its nose to find a source. And by moving it around, wake up. What happened there? Oh. And by moving the dog through the search area in a systematic way, you can more speedily give the dog the opportunity to get into odour and do their job. Okay, so here's an example. I think I can do something great here. Watch this. Doop. Let's have a look. So this is...
Good boy. Can you go find it?
So I'm moving with him, moving him along. Well, I'm supporting him moving along, okay? Change of pace is a good indication that something's going on. I have hidden... I hid this odour 2 hours ago and very much was about setting him up so that he would move along with me, but then when he hit odour, the odorant of the hide, which is, I think I've got a way that I can I'm sure I've got a pencil somewhere, but I don't know how to do it. It's too scary. Who cares? It was just at this door here. I think you can see it when it's over here. There you go. And the wind it was a very hot, blustery day, zoom, 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 coming up there. So I knew that by starting him up there, it was a great opportunity for him to learn, I'm walking with you, and when you experience that odour, you move towards it. And that change of behaviour was a nice example. So really depending on where you are up to in your training, what the dog has experienced to date in your handling style, because just like agility, I'll go back to agility because all of you who do agility, and even if you don't do agility, you know that there's different handling styles and they're very much like different languages. So you can be in a situation where you've trained up on one system, Greg Derrett or whatever they bloody are now, and someone else who is trained up themselves and their dog's in a different handling system, they might not be able to work your dog because it's a different language. So it's a good way to think about it. So while I give you these ideas and thoughts, I want you to understand that if you go in and go, okay, I'm going to do exactly what Peter says because it makes sense, it might be that at first your dog goes, what the hell are you doing? Like, seriously, because they're not used to you handling in that way. So it might look at first like, oh, it's not going to work, but it's just them getting used to this different style. So this is a video of Fly when he was, I don't know, it feels like he was much younger or just much less experienced. And this is him in a big hangar up in Dubbo. So I am leading Fly more just with my body language, moving him along. If I see him pinpoint and start to detail, sorry is the best word for it. See how I stepped back there? Now I know where it is. and I know he was nowhere near it, but I can tell that he's picked up on it again because of this change of pace, and it's the way that he works. And he's going to hit it in a minute. I did find something. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so that's Fly. But now here's Quinn. So it's exactly the same search with a more experienced dog. And you'll see that I handle differently. I hold back to allow Quinn in to do his thing because he doesn't need my direction as much as Fly did. And you can see just he's more experienced, so he's checking areas more than Fly did. In absence of me having to push him in, and we're going to talk about that. So same kind of movement as, and we set these hides actually the night before, just so you know. So there's a lot of odour in that room, and you can see the difference when Quinn hits odour. It's much more of a slow down and check until he gets it, really following it, whereas Fly speeds up more. Different styles, different experiences. So yeah, we're in a situation where for those of us who do or who have just come up through pet dog work, we very much handle in a way that lets the dog go a majority of the work. Having said that, we've still got some influence over them, as you saw in those videos, just by the way that we move, our speed and positioning and that kind of stuff. But there definitely are some professionals out there who have come into pet dogs detection work, ACSW and ANKC, who have more of a, what we call a, not so much a systematic approach, but more of a controlled approach. And, you know, you think about it, there's a reason that policemen who are checking cars on the side of the road for drugs want to be able to keep control of their dogs and not have them on a great big long lead, because a lorry might come along and just palm them over while they're working. So they'll keep them close, and it's a different kind of way to work. But we generally tend to focus more on the freedom of the dog and, as I said, following along. And letting the dog take control. But now when we get to these higher levels, we want to have an understanding of how to influence them and how to guide them, when to guide them, and when to step back. So again, just another video. For me, videos are so much better than words, because they're a picture, even though it might not be the best training in the world, and by far and away it's very rare that I do a perfect training session, but I tell you what, it's these ones that we learn from as well. So I don't know where these hides are. Come on, little video. So I think I know I've got 3 or 2 or something. It's a huge area. So I'm just watching his body language. He's all over the place because there's converging odour. There's one over on the grass as well. But can you see how, as he's working and I see those changes of behaviour, I'm trying to keep out of his way. Now, one of the things that I think is worth you thinking about and focusing on here, which is really valuable, that when they hit a wall, can you see how I'm swinging around? I'm not standing out there in the middle, just straight onto the wall. I'm actually trying to work with him and move myself close to the wall, because what I'm thinking is that if you, Flysy, discover that what you're following is a squashed rat or something in that bin or whatever it happens to be, I want to be ready. I know that he's going to go, oh, it's not what I thought it was. So he's a big sticky to odour kind of dog, which is great, and I can fix that very easily when I need to. It's because odour is valuable to him, really valuable. But I want to, when he's finished looking for what he was looking for, if it doesn't turn out to be odour, I want to be in a position to say to him, okay, he'll orientate back on me, and I'm ready to move him along the move him back move him along in the direction that I want to go. I think this is actually one of Fly's first searches on odor. Oh, sorry, on lead. And I can't even remember exactly what's going on here, so I'm trying to do my best. Oh, go away, you stupid thing. I'm trying to do my best here to get out of his way because he's still in odor, but I'm also not sure if he is still, if he's picking up the odor that he's already hit on. Can't remember what the weather was like this particular day. So I'm feeling like there's something else there that he might want to alert on. And so again, I've swung back around and he hit on one there. Now that is really awesome for Fly, absolutely awesome. Now I know that there's one more there in this big area.
There's two more, it's just up to you if you want to do them or not.
Okay, so there's two more. Penny is saying, and what I want you to get from this as well is that so often when we do these searches and we put out 4 hides or 3 hides or whatever it happens to be, we have this thing that the dog's only successful if they find them all, and nothing could be further from the truth. If I'd finished there, Fly has no freaking idea that there's 2 more hides, right? But again, you see that change of behavior. I step back. He pinpoints. His alert is just to stand there, hold its source and look back at me at the moment. And now I know there's one more, but why would I push it? Why would I push it? That is the greatest of great for him. I don't need to find 4 just because I know 4 are there. Really, really important. Now, if he'd taken me, if I'd said, okay, let's finish, and this has actually happened, where I've gone, okay, there was 2, you worked those beautifully, okay, great, let's finish that, and whoever the dog is has gone, but actually I think there's another one over here. Even as we're walking out of the search area, if the dog goes, hang on a minute, and veers off, I will go, no worries. If you can find yourself another hide, I will pay that. I will let you do that and pay that, because that's what I want. I want odor to take over from you whenever you smell it. So hopefully you could start to see how I'm moving him along, letting him do his thing, but then moving him along and being ready when he finishes doing his thing. If I don't go in and pay, if it just happens to be something that the wind blew in that's got nothing to do with scent work, I'm ready further along down the wall to have him orientate back and have him know that we're moving in that way, as opposed to just standing back directly on him and have him turn away from the wall. I want him to continue searching the rest of the wall, so my orientation is what allows him to understand that that's where we're going next. So I get ahead of the game. There was something else I wanted to say. Here's what I want to say. The other thing about handling in this kind of way, where instead of standing there like a shag on a rock and letting them work a particular area of a wall, or it doesn't happen to be a wall, a chair or whatever it happens to be, by thinking to yourself, okay, this is where I want to go next, you're going to save precious time. And the other thing is that, especially when it's an area like that, if that was inside and it was really, really still, and I was like, man, he's working hard and there's something there, and I'm pretty sure he's on odor, but he can't pinpoint it. If I move back and forward and along that wall a little bit, my movement is going to create wind movement, which is going to create odor movement. So I can essentially change the difficulty of the search, make it easier for him by moving through and letting that draft from me pick up and swirl the odor for him to give him a better chance to finding it. Okay, so here we've got a little example of the way that I often see people work, handle their dogs, and I'm going to try and get you out of it. It's a really easy thing that when you've got a search area, and we'll call this novice because it's small, we've got the hide is behind the lounge chair. That's that bluey billow thing I gave to you. You can see over here the cones is our threshold. So you've entered through there. It's an off-lead search, so it's safe. You can have the dog off-lead. And what I see happen more than anything is that people come into the middle of an area and they stand there like a bloody lazy Susan. And all they do is just turn around and let the dog come on out here and work and work and work and work. So there's lots of reasons why you wouldn't do that. None of the least of which is that if you are doing that, the way that I see it and understand it is that wherever I'm facing and I'm opening up, opening up to the dog, is where I'm telling him to search, or let's say it this way, supporting him to search. So he's got my support by searching there. But the other thing that I'm doing is I'm blocking off because of the way that just naturally that I'm standing. We can get around this with training, but just the natural understanding of body language of a dog means that all of this area I'm blocking off to him. And I've seen this many, 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 many times where a human stands like this and focuses on half or a quarter or just a particular area of a search, thinking that, how many of us would go, it'll be in the bookshelf. Yeah, no worries, man. It'll be in the bookshelf. That's exactly where it'll be. That's where they put it, in the bookshelf. And because we are so sure that it's in the bloody bookshelf, we talk the dogs into alerting on the bloody bookshelf. So you have to be so careful about that. So instead of, in this particular example, and this is basically the way that I think is the best way to handle, because I want to support my dog and I want to open the area up for my dog to search, is instead of coming in and standing in the middle, I want you to keep your back to the wall, so you're opening up as much of the search area as possible. So as an example, it's just an example. You don't have to go a particular clockwise or anti-clockwise. Some handlers do. I might have send my dog into search, watch him do his stuff. He's going down there. He's going down there to investigate down here. I'm going to stand over in this corner and let him do his thing. Now, what happens is where's my cursor? If he comes in now and says, nah, nothing down there, he's going to orientate back to me. And as he orientates back, he's going to head potentially through that odor plume. So now it might not be, of course, that the odor is there, but can you see how I'm giving him the best chance? Get away. I'm giving him the best chance of hitting odor here. Now, if we didn't find anything, then I might move, where's my thing, over to that side. And again, standing in the corner as much as I possibly can and opening up that area, so that no matter where he goes, he's got my support, I've got my eyes on him, and I can help him out as I feel like I need to. So that's just a great example of a much better way to support your dog in a search rather than standing in the middle and just being what I call a lazy Susan. You know, those things that that you have at restaurants that have all the food on them, and you just giggle them around. So open the search area up as much as you can. So again, you guys who have done agility, you're good at this. You know what it is. I don't know how to get. Oh, there you go. Chuff. Go away. Go away. You guys know. I want you to think of what your body language is saying to your dog, because there's a natural understanding that they come with, you know, I think we've all read the articles on you can point something at a dog and a dog will follow your point, whereas a wolf won't, a chimpanzee won't, blah, blah, blah. So they obviously come, they're a different species to anything else that we work with because of the way that they've been bred up to work with us. So use that, but also our training and what they get used to, even though you might not realize of what you're saying with your body, they are picking it up and they get used to that. So just remember, opening up and supporting is your body is supporting them, searching in an area. If they're in that area and they go, yeah, nothing here, then you can say, okay, no worries, I'm going to move over here. And again, you should be ahead of the game, thinking, okay, once they've finished that, now I've positioned myself here so that they will naturally orientate to me. And I'm not saying they're going to come and look at you, but they are always aware of you, always, always, always aware of you, because you, for the most part, have such valuable information with your body language. They are just masters at reading it, right? So open up those areas and close off those areas with your body language. But once the dog is in odor, this is only as the dog is looking for those odorants, those odor molecules. Once you see that change in behavior, that's when you step back. Remember, you saw me do it with Fly, and let them just work the area, work the area, work the area as much as you can. And that's what odor obedience is, right? Let's move through this area together, and I know where we're going and where we can go and where we don't need to go and all of that kind of stuff. But once I see that change in behavior, it's all yours. You're in the driver's seat. Okay. What else have I got here? Oh, another example. Let's make it big. So here is just another example of a search area. Right, so we don't know where the hide is in here, so we are going to come in. Don't do that, don't do that. Magpie's out the back. The dog's nearly did a runner. We're going to come in. Oh, hang on. This is our entrance. It's our threshold. We're going to come in, and we've got a decision to make. So I'm going to start there. It's an off-lead search again. Because it's inside, it's just much easier to do it and to start to think about this off lead, because you've got skills and habits to learn as well, right? And you just don't want to be having to think about lead handling as well. Learn one thing at a time, perfect that or improve that, and then put the dog on lead. So you're going to start there. The dog might move in to that blue. The blue is the dog, the red is you, that one. So now that gives me an idea. As he's searching around there, I am going to move over to this position so that, and I'm facing outwards. So again, I'm opening up. You're all right, Spaz. He's not lying on you. You're all right, mister. You poor boy. What was I talking about? So I'm moving over to number 2, facing the dog, opening up, saying, okay, I'm supporting you. I'll move in. Once you pinpoint, but I'm just staying out of there and letting you do your thing, getting information. It might be that it's on the chair back here and he doesn't go in deep enough. But just for the first sweep, I'm just letting him stand back. I'm standing back and letting him do his thing. And you can see there that I'm opening it up. I'm directly across for him. The dog now moves down to the bookshelf there. So I am going to go and stand back at number 3. At the bookshelf over there. Again, you can see how I'm opening that area up for him, giving him the opportunity. Don't step on the chihuahua. Sorry, everybody. Boxer moving. Baby boxer. There you go. Poor little darling fucker. So I move back to 3. Now the dog, I think we've done it. Oh no, hang on, what happened there? 3. Oh, okay, I know what I was doing. Let's just go back. So, 1, I move here. This is a great way to do it. Da-da-da. So I'm opening up that room. And then if we haven't found it, then I start to help the dog if I need to get into the nooks and crannies, right? But what most people will do, again, is go from 1 into, the dog goes over there. They'll just go to the middle and stand there like a dweeb. And again, all of that area is gone. as far as supporting the dog and telling the dog that the whole area is in play. Like, it's not gone. If the dog gets a whiff of odour, he should vamoose way past you. But you can see how people generally tend to close off area by standing too close to their dog while they work and really crowding. And that actually, is a faultable handling offence, crowding your dog. So beware. Okay, so now what's this one? Oh, just another variation on a theme. Again, I'm saying here that I could have moved across to the bookshelf, knowing and saying to the dog, okay, once you've finished in this area, I know you're going to orientate to me, so I'm basically drawing you across to the area, to the bookshelf, and then we could sweep across the window. Dog might do that too, and then we can go over there, dog follows me there, and hey presto. So I think you can get an idea of the way I prefer to handle. Might not be the way that everybody prefers to handle, but definitely a way that makes sense to me in terms of odor movement and dogs understanding us and working as a team, blah, blah, blah. Just a little thing. I'm not sure if any of you have ever done this, but I want you to do it. I want you to do these things in training, because then if it happens, because one of the questions I get when people, when I say keep your bum to the wall and all that kind of stuff, keep your back to the wall, but what if I stand in front of the odour? What if, it might be on the wall? And that is the truth. That is the whole truth. And so if that's a potential thing that's going to happen, that could happen in a trial, because you don't know where the bloody odour is. How many times have you been in class and you're standing there and they go, you're blocking it. And it's like, well, I don't bloody know if I'm blocking it. Like, it's this handler sin. And the bottom line is, if you're blocking it, you want your dog, you want to know that you're going to move with purpose. In a minute anyway, so it'll give the dog a chance. But just say you're standing right in front of it and you don't move. You want to know what your dog will do when it hits that. There's some dogs that are going to just sit there like this dog and go, I guess he found it. I guess he doesn't need me anymore. Other dogs are going to barge through and get you to move out of the way. But in absence of setting that up as a training exercise, you're not going to know. So when that happens, inevitably in a trial, you and your dog potentially are going to be confused. So training is about giving your dog every opportunity to experience anything and everything that might happen in a trial, and learn that all his job is to get as close as he can to that odour. Right. Good job, me. What have I said here? Obviously working as a team. This is what I'm talking about. When we talk about, oh, that's right, we're talking about distractions here. So I've probably gone a bit too far. But just to say it, oh no, I see. When we're talking about distractions, they can be something that the dog will absolutely love, like a chicken breast, if we're talking about a food distractor. Sometimes just a novel thing like a banana or a carrot or a cucumber really screws the dogs up, just the smell of it. So again, you want to try anything and everything. But I think most of us are concerned most about the really high value food items that potentially are going to be there. I'll go back now. Sorry, I just realised that I've got a few slides out of place. But let's just go through this first. So we can tell our dogs to leave it. You can guide them away gently. What is the potential of having your handling faulted in ANKC scent work is really about harsh handling and not working as a team. So if I was watching you and your dog, and just say it was a toy distractor in an advanced interior search, and your dog came in and searched for a bit, and he saw the rubber pig, and he went, oh my God, it's a rubber pig. It's just what I have at home. It's the greatest thing in the world. There's another pig. Oh my God. And you were saying, leave it, leave it, leave it. If I saw that the dog was not doing what it was told, and especially if I saw that you were starting to get a little bit peeved, leave it. And if you jerked, we're starting to look at potential DQs for harsh handling. So you want to be able to know that you can move your dog away from distraction, no matter what that distraction is, in a way that is not an argument. That's one of the ways that I started to think about seeing it when I was thinking about, as a judge, what I would DQ and what I would fault and what I would just let go by. And I think to myself that a search is a conversation between you and your dog. You're going around, like I said, you are the one who is controlling the area that the dog searches in, and the dog is the one that when it hits odour, it's in control of finding exactly where that odour is coming from and telling you about it. So the conversation should be a reasonably pleasant conversation. There should be give and take. There should be a whole lot of interaction that probably is going to be very subtle. Sorry, what happened there? Wake up. Okay, great. Just my screen keeps going to sleep. Going to be very subtle. But once I start to get the feel that you're having an argument, that's when and all I can speak for is me. Whoopsies, wrong way. All I can speak for is me. Each judge is going to have a different take on things, and a different interpretation of the rules. That's just the way that it goes. But that's the way that I see it. So you want to be able to, in training, do a lot of work on distractors so that your dog understands that in this situation there's very little chance of me getting it or even trying to. What have I said here? You can pinpoint, you can move your dog. So just say we have we give you a 30-second warning. You've been around the area and you're like, man, okay, he showed interest. It's a vehicle search. He showed interest on the left tyre of the first vehicle, but he didn't indicate. So I hear 30 seconds. I'm going to say, come on, mate, let's just come along here. Good boy. And I'm going to put him on the side of that car again to see if he can now pick it up. That's not going to be faulted. That's sensible, good teamwork. Like I said, it's when it becomes an argument, or if we see that the dog is not working at all and you go and point to the wheel and the dog goes, oh, thanks, then we might start to question it. But these are really individual situations that we're going to have to take as they come up. So even though a lot of us have come up and been brought up and taught on let the dog do the work, there's going to be times where you do want to step in, stupid thing, and guide the dog and help the dog in a certain way. And there are going to be some people who who have come from a professional working background, who are used to what we call doing the detailing for the dog. Check here, check here, check here, check here. And that's not going to be faulted either, because it's a genuine way of a team working together. Okay, let me just go back because I think it's in here. I think I can do this. And I think we got onto these the other night, but I just want to put them here as well so that, where is it? I know that's funny. What my dog is, what's this one question? Okay, yeah, this was the question. I'll just chuck this one in here. Training and handling intentional distractions and what's allowed redirection. So I've spoken about that. And I've said here that the most important thing that will make your job working and having your dog just leave whatever distraction is is presented to it, the most important thing that will make that relatively easy is the value of source odor. If your dog has a history of amazing things happening in source odor, and it has a very strong understanding of when you say go search, that the probability of finding a source odor is out there, a target odor is out there, regardless of what is in the box. You have got so much reinforcement history of the birch or the anise or the clove or the cypress being valuable that it's not going to have the chicken breast in the box, is not going to have as much pull as it might otherwise do. So how valuable is source odor to your dog? That's what you should be building. I want you to think about it as putting money in the bank, money in the bank, money in the bank. Birch is good, birch is good. All of the odors are good. You get my drift. And I've said here, I see, and I've said this for a long while in training, in dog training, you know, as a experienced exotic trainer, you got many dog trainers go, oh my God, you must have to be so fantastic to work seals or to work birds or to work elephants or whatever it happens to be. And I tell you, it's a lot better than it used to be in zoos. But keepers have been thrown in the deep end. They've become keepers, and many of them were never interested in training, but they were handed a bucket of fish and a clicker and they were told to go train because it's enriching and that's what we do now and all that kind of stuff. Whereas us dog trainers are nerds, and we have grown up and loving it and choosing to train our dogs. So we're much more motivated, and I do often say to zoo trainers, one of the best things that you can do is go and watch someone who's got a well-trained dog out in the open, where there's lots of competing reinforcers like a puddle or other dogs or cockatoos or whatever it happens to be, and the dog is obedient to the learnt cues that the owner is giving, not the odor. I know that sometimes food isn't going to cut it in the real world. So I think to myself, every distractor is a reinforcer in disguise. So I can always put a cue on chasing the birds, or I can put a cue on rolling in the mud, and I can cue that behavior when it's safe and allowable for the dog to do it. And in that way, because I know that the bulldog, rest her soul, used to love rolling in puddles. I could use go muddy muddy as a cue. The chihuahuas didn't care for rolling in muddy muddy, so it wasn't a behavior that I put on cue for them because they would never want to use it as a reinforcer, right? So just to understand that, don't get hung up with distractors being like a scary thing. We can really make them valuable. The more valuable source odor is, I've said that, the easier it is for the dog to leave a distractor, 100%. And I showed this last night. We'll keep it going here, open it up. This is one of the ways that I exercises that I think is fantastic for helping a dog understand finding source no matter what, and staying at source is great. So the odor's in there. Quinn does not have to search for it. It's right there. It's a given, because what I'm working on here is stay at source, stay at source, stay at source. So I call those little bits of food that run off there food critters. And no matter what Quinn does, if he goes and gets a food critter, I'm still throwing food at the odor. And can you think about the value of staying at odor now to him over going and getting 1 or 2 bits of food, right? Now, what Quinn knows and what my dogs learn is that when odor is present, staying at odor is the best way to get the most food. If you leave odor to go and chase the food critters like Quinn did now, odor will go away. But if you stay at source, the food will keep coming until mum comes in and picks up odor, boop, and that's when the food stops. And that's when you can go and get all the food critters. So it's really like having your cake and eating it too. So staying at source is a really valuable thing. Again, yeah, many of you saw this last night, but I'm going to put... Okay, I think I'm on again. That was scary. I hit the wrong thing. You've got the hide up the top there. It's moving around. You can see it on there. So this is just... Fly will come up and go, oh, I think it's up here somewhere. And he comes around. He goes, there it is. Click. Using the clicker at that point, and there's his dinner. Okay, so again, that exercise there will be really useful for me once Fly starts to work on formal distractors, because, well, why would I care about not getting the chicken breast when I can get all of this food, often chicken breast, often better things, if I go and find odour, right? Oh, I haven't done that one yet. So I thought I had here some... Oh, yeah, I do. So again, just on distractors, the only way to get a distractor is through the target odour. So what I actually train my guys to do is, which you'll see in a minute, is in the presence of a distractor, in training, they can perceive the distractor, and then if they go find birch, they will get reinforcement at the source odour. And when I say birch, I mean all of the odours. It's just easier just to say one. And then I will say to them, okay, let me help you. And that tells them I'm going to go and open up the container that has the distractor in it. So I start off just by having a container with a lid in it, with a bit of food in it, in the search area. They come in, they smell it, they go, oh, can't get it anyway. They go and find birch. I feed them at the odour, and then I say, okay, let me help you. And they learn, okay, that's how I get to that good stuff. So let's just go to this one. So I've got my treats for training up there. The hide is in here. Sparrow comes in. He goes, oh, there's a whole pile of Prime 100, which is what he's working for. He goes straight past it. He finds the odour. I come in and pay. And I get the distractor in a minute, and I give him some out of there as well. So that's another way to do it. Because I actually didn't mean to leave that there. Like, seriously, that's why I'm saying to him, your mother's a moron. Have a belly full. Good boy. So when I start to do it in a more formal, so I'm putting money in the bank of understanding that, yeah, there can be good shit out in the environment, but the only way to get it is to go to source, go to source, go to source. So then, if my dog comes in to a trial and goes, there's a bloody rump steak in that box, don't you know, Mum, or in that container, what that will actually act as is a bribe. My dog will go, oh my God, that's what I might get if I find odour. Awesome. So it actually speeds them up and they move away from it quickly, and it encourages them and motivates them more to find the odour than it distracts from them finding the odour, and they have to fight to leave it. And that's all in training. So in a situation like this, I've just used boxes. I might start my dog up here. He is going, we'll go find it, go past. He might go, oh, there's steak. The first time he experiences this situation, I want it to be nice and close. So the target odour is always in the next box there. Hey presto, he gets that. My food gets delivered in there, and then I pick up the odour because I don't want him to leave the odour. And I say, okay, let me help you, and I will go and open up this box and let him eat it. Okay? And that's the way that I do it. It's called the Premack principle if you want to look it up. It's actually scientifically sound. So again, every distractor is a reinforcer in disguise. Okay, so just quickly going back here now to some handling. So here's some stuff I've put in extra. So this is a map of my advanced interior map for one of my prac days as a judgeroonie. And this is something that you can easily do yourself. When you go and do your walkthrough, you can give yourself an idea of what might be going on by focusing on it in a drawing. It just helps me. And as a judge, I like to draw these maps so I know what I was thinking and what I expected from each dog. So you can see the entrance is there. It's a secure area. So once the dog's in and that's closed, the dog can go find it. And I had a hide. Whoops, I'm doing the wrong thing again. I had a hide over here. If you see that. It was about, I don't know how many, what did I said there, 45 centimetres high. Oh, and 10 centimetres deep. I knew it wasn't that deep. So it's just on the side of this fridge here. But it is accessible to the dog. But it makes it very difficult for the handler to work with the dog. So that was the bit of a challenge there. And then the other one was I had a threshold hide, which was there. Oopsies, hang on, I just got to move this up. Let's put that there. I had a threshold hide, which was there. And that little circle sort of just explains it a bit more. So that's my map. And what I then need to think about is, or what I can think about, sorry, I don't have enough screen here for myself, do I? Can I move this up? No. Is that they can go, just moving it down where you can't see. There you go. Okay, that makes me better. So now we've got a situation where we can, if we wanted to, note all of the things that are there. So we've got some furniture issues. We've got fridges and some that were on that can suck air and make things a bit difficult. What sort of substrates have we got? What's wood? What's metal? Is there fabric? What's going to pull the odor? What's going to disperse the odor? Or different substrates will do different things to odor and make it move weirdly. So we've got to expose our dogs to that in training. What's the air movement, speed, direction, drafts, especially in an interior? What sort of temperature and humidity am I dealing with outside? And especially if I'm doing an interior search, what's the outside to inside difference? Is there an exterior wall that will have direct sun on it? And I know that if that's the case and there is a hide near that wall, then you're going to see that hide. So I've got two hides in here, but you're going to see the one that's closest to the exterior wall explode because the heat is going to make it expand and move more readily. What's the sun position, cloudy or clear, where people and dogs will move in the area and where they won't, because as people and dogs move, that's going to create different air currents and movement of odour and potentially make it easier or more difficult. And there's all my answers there that I did for this one. So it really just makes you think and helps you understand all of the things that are going on. Now, containers are no different, and I just wanted to quickly touch on containers because they can be a nemesis. What I often see are people coming in to do a container search and they will physically themselves stop about here. I don't want you to do that. I want you to continue out past the containers so that you really give your dog the best opportunity to take in air and potentially odor from every angle. When you have done a couple of passes, remember that going up and back in different directions is really important depending on the environment and the way that the seams are facing. Your dog might only be able to get a whiff of odor from a container from coming at it from one direction. So make sure you change directions. I think you're all pretty good at that. If you've got a horrendous random container search, which can be the death of mental death of many of us, the best thing to do is to try and break it into more manageable sections so that you can help your dog or help your dog move around the area and get it into as many places so that it can pick up odor as possible. I'm no good at this at all. It drives me insane. So I really have to think about it. And again, it's one of those areas where if I can keep myself to the side, even though it might not be a wall, the side of the search area before I have to go into the minefield, then I just find that the easiest way to do it. Probably the worst thing I see, which drives me crazy, is the lazy Susan when we've got a container search that is in a circle or a U shape. It's really lazy and it's really potentially very ineffective. So most people will come in, stand in the middle, and they stand there and they just let the dog right? Don't be a lazy Susan. I want you to move with your dog, make use of the fact that they naturally will watch you and gain support from you and the way that you're moving. Actually, move to your advantage. Don't just stand there and let the dog do all the work. 'Cause like I said, it's a team sport. Is that it? What's this? What's this? Because I changed some things. I'm not sure what I'm doing. Okay, yes, we've done that. Move along. So that's right. When we are looking at how to handle when we first come into an area, and hopefully we've had a chance to do a walkthrough, or maybe we've done a digital walkthrough in these days, you want to be able to have a couple of different plans in your head. And always understanding that if the dog hits odor straight away and takes you completely off in a direction that you weren't going to go in until the end, understand that that's fine. That's plan D, and that always trumps our plans. But you want to be able to have plans because there's a whole lot of complexity in this, and it just will start to help you think about it more. It's really going to give you a chance to learn more about odor movement, because as you look at a search area, you need to be thinking to yourself about how the environment will be influencing the odor. Okay, because that will dictate whether you how you move and where you move in an area. So you need to know about odor movement, and as far as I've learnt, the only way you learn about odor movement is by doing it and the dog saying, yeah, you're completely wrong, it's actually this way and you thought it was that way. It helps you mentally prepare for the search, so it gives you, lets you not just walk around going, oh, it's really nervous, think about it. It's very similar to agility, and helps you think about how you're going to move through the search area. And gives you a plan if the dog needs help. Okay, so the dog might go fang off plan D and he gets 2 of the hides, and then you're like, oh my God, we're doing really well, but there's 3 in here. So then for the next 2 minutes, the dog's working to find the other one. And you're going to be able to then help the dog by thinking, okay, you've taken me here and here, let's go back to this area, and I'll go from back to the threshold and go back down that wall, or I might go down that far end and move back towards the threshold because of the wind movement. That will be dependent to help your dog. And just let me say here that there is no you can even see me while I say it. There is no reason, there's no rules to say that you can't. If you just have this great big cluster and it's like your dog's looking at you going, I've never heard this idea before, or I'm really nervous out here, or whatever, something weird happens, you can, in the middle of a search, hey, let's just start again. Do you want to go back to the threshold and start again? Okay, let's do that. You can always restart. And sometimes that's all a dog needs to put him back into the, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. No worries. But I would urge you not to be, that doesn't mean you re-cue as he's doing it. Go find it, go find it. Don't be a nag. What that means is that you can go, okay, let's stop, and I'm going to take you back to the threshold, or I'm going to take you down to this side. So ready, steady, okay, go find it. The whole way that you would normally start your dog off. Okay, I think we're nearly there for this one. And just remember, here's the thing. What teaches your dog most about how to search and be an efficient searcher is how you use your hide placements in training. So you want to be able to, you don't want to have to use your body and your and physical pressure to push your dog into a corner to get them to search there. You want them to have so much reinforcement history in corners, and I've said there, and thresholds, nooks and crannies, all of those. It's so that when you get to a situation where the dog comes in and there's lots of nooks and crannies, or there's corners, or there's things to look behind, the dog naturally does that because you never know where odour's going to hide. So that's all about good training. Absolutely good training. And again, you don't even have to do that on odour, all right? You can do it on food. Remember, whether you're, and some of you I know don't want to teach your dog to search for food. I get that. For me, it's just a no-brainer. I just absolutely love it that I can help my dogs. Whoopsies, not going to do, what happened to my video? Oh, here comes. Oh, that's right. It was a thing. I can help my dog understand to put his head under lots of different things by setting up a search with food. I've used the boxes here because Robin is just a bubba. And I'm just saying to him, see, that's a straight wall, right? But look at all the, oh, he's such a bubba, right? But look at all of the different little areas you need to look in. So it might be a straight line, but odour could be hiding anywhere. It could be trapped in there because of the wind movement. And so just walking past is not going to give the dog any access to odorants to follow back. So it's a really valuable game, and obviously it also helps them, helps you understand what sort of dog have you got. I've got a bull roarer, a dog that just has no worry about anything. He's very confident when he's searching to do whatever he needs to do to get to the odour. I've said there, do they check back in or do you not exist? If they're hunting, I want my dog not to, I don't want to exist to my dog, right? Unless there is a need for him to pay attention to me, like I'm moving him along an area. So you can see, it's, you know, a lot of the things that I'm saying is like, but Peter, that's inconsistent to what you said last time. It's because it's so dependent on the situation at hand. So every situation is different, but the more that you give your dog opportunity to be successful in little nooks and crannies, behind things, and all of those different things that I've put there, then the better it will be when you get into a search that has a lot of ins and outs and areas, because they know naturally to check there. You don't have to sort of encourage them in. And you can see there I've put a heap of, there's so, you know, when you do a training session, you might be focusing on, okay, I'm doing it to give the dog experience with nooks and crannies. But there's so much more that you can learn. There's so much learning. I think I've put that, I think what I'm saying about, I don't know what I'm saying about that. I can't remember. I was waiting for something to come up on the screen. So basically it's never just one thing in a training session. There's multiple learning going on. There is multiple learning for you going on, just not the dog. This gives me a chance to sit back and see what's Robin doing. You know, how does he handle this? It's really different to how Fly would never be doing what Robin's doing back there. So I get to know my dog, what his strengths are, and what then his weaknesses are. So what I need to work on. Alrighty then. Okay, I hope that recorded. So let's